more than anything, I still call him Captain and my dear friend, Nainoa.
Aloha mai kākou. Thank you for letting me in the room with an extraordinary front row of champions, heroes, those who shed light on the earth, give hope, deeply honored, intimidated, it's the truth. You know, I'm not a scientist, I'm not even a professional conservationist, I'm just a sailor. I'm not even a map navigator, I'm a student of navigation, so I just thank you, Alani, for the compliment. But maybe what I could do, and hopefully to make a contribution to the room, is to bring in the navigator. Master, my teacher, from the tiny island of Sapelo in the Western Carolinas in Micronesia. His soil is less than 2 meters. And this island is 1.5 miles long and 1/2 mile wide, and he's the greatest, to me he's everything. He's a scientist, he's a meteorologist, he's an astronomer, he's an oceanographer, he's a voyager. He is a conservationist, and he knows, because on his island, they sustain everything, nothing's brought in. The food they eat, to protect their health. They deal with things like tsunamis and hurricanes that run the island over, and they survive. He, to me, is my scientist. And he did 2 extraordinary things. He's like the power of one, change the world. Exactly what everybody's saying. You need to change how we see the future of the earth and our relationship to it. He is all of that. He did 2 things, because we don't have much time. One is he took a Hawaiian voyaging canoe called Hokulea, the first to be built in 600 years, when none of us knew anything. Because the crippling effects of not putting, and thank you, Sandra, for not putting our values and the things we believe and the things, the principles into our schools, we forget. And in essence, we forget our connection. He came and took Hokulea in 1976, sailed 2,500 miles with a crew he barely knew, 4 times farther than any other voyage. The canoe is 8 times larger, across the equator, to stars he's never seen, lose the North Star, and found Tahiti. He's a master navigator, and at the time that he came to us, he was the youngest on the earth. None in Polynesia, none in Melanesia, 6 in Micronesia. We know extinction. We know what it looks like, we know what it smells like, we know what it feels like. He was at the edge of holding everything together on his small shoulders. Integrity of heritage, the importance of diversity of culture and knowledge and skill. He taught us infinite lessons about many things, but he taught, I'll just share with you 2 stories. 1980, Hawaii had committed to learning navigation and leading a voyage to Tahiti after Miles' voyage. But we needed a teacher, so we asked him to come back. And he had trained us, took us like children by the hand, pulled us through the window of time, into the old world, into the old ocean. 3,000 years of generation after generation, remembering and not forgetting. He gave us all of that as children of Mao, Pius, Piailuk. And then we did the voyage in 1980 to 80 back. So the voyage of roughly nearly 6,000 miles. Then we bumped our way down to the Pacific, found Tahiti somehow, came back and bumped into Hawaii, and we did okay. And then I was with him when he was packing his bag in Mom and Dad's spare bedroom, the bag that he would pack for the first time in 2.5 years, because he never left us. Never left us. Stayed with us. So I sat down with him, and he says to me, you know, Nainoa, he's going to go home. I need to go home. But he said, you did okay. He said, I gave you everything, and the ocean showed you everything. It'll be 20 years before you see. He said, and you'll never see it all because you're too old. If you want someone in Hawaii to know everything, send your son, you're too old. And then he said, when I was 1 year old, his grandfather had selected him as a student to learn navigation, to carry the knowledge, which is power, to carry the heritage, which is about genealogy that is so old, to teach him everything. And at 1 year old, Mao was put by his grandfather into a tide pools on the tiny island of Satawal to play in the ocean, to learn about the wind, to learn about the field, to learn this kind of, begin the process of intuitive education that's more spiritual than it's intellectual. And then at a very old age of 5, he was sailing in the Voyaging canoe. And he go, you know, Nainoa, I go on the canoe and the waves make the canoe go up and down. When the canoe go up and down, as a boy, I get sick, seasick. He says, yeah, my grandfather tied my arms with coconut sennit rope, throw me overboard, and drag me in the ocean. If we did that in our training program, we'd be, Remember, it's 5 years old. He says, my grandfather dragged me in the ocean so that when I go in the ocean, he dragged me in the ocean, I can go inside the wave. When I go inside the wave, I become the wave. And when I become the wave, I'm a navigator. At 5. And then he said, you know, Nainoa, that there is a danger. If there are no navigators left on the earth, there will be no people. Remember that statement. And so that for him, as the navigator and the way he sees the world, if he were in the room, if he were in this room, this is what I would predict he would say. That if climate change, if sustainability are the great challenge of our times, if life on Earth is something that we should value, the only way you'll protect that is by protecting the oceans. There is no other way to do it. It's prerequisite to everything else. And he would say that where he comes from, there's only one ocean, and only one people, and one island, to Kathleen's comments from space. He would say that you can't protect what you don't understand, and you won't if you don't care. And he would say that one of the things that we need to protect is indigenous knowledge. We need to protect the history and the legacy of great navigators through time that have been through all of this. The land, the dirt you stay on here was sustainable by the Native Hawaiians. We are now going back to rediscover tomorrow. And he would say that to protect what you love and what you value, to Sylvia's point, he would be confused. He wouldn't understand what a fraction of caring would be. He wouldn't understand a percentage of what you'll take care of and what you won't take care of. Ma would say, if it's what you love and what you care, you protect it all. And he would say that big issues and this is where I come from too, is he taught me that we need another sail plan that's right below conservation. It's a sail plan for education. That imagine that if 145 years ago, when we created in the United States the first public schools that were really engineered and designed to build the world's greatest economy, and the way to do that is to industrialize, and the schools were designed for the workforce. Without the understanding, because we didn't know its impact on climate, its impact on ecology, and its impact on culture. We didn't know, but today we do. That education is going to have to change. Imagine if 145 years ago, our education system was basically valued on the principles of caring for nature. Imagine if we didn't. And that's what Mao would say, because that's Mao. The last story I will leave you with is I went to visit him in Sakawa before we lost him in 2012. We talked about many things, but I said, Mao, what does it take to become a master? What is it to be a master, navigator? And he said many things. He gave 14 distinct points. And the last point, he said, when you become navigator, you become the light. And light is love. When you become navigator, it is your job. If there is conflict, you resolve it. When you become navigator, when you go to sea, your job is to watch nature and protect it. When you're navigator, if there is a wounded seabird, you care for it and take care of it. When you're navigator, your island counts, and you must take care of your island. When you're navigator, it is your job to take care of all of community on the island. If Mao was here, I know he was so afraid. And he's the most courageous, fearless person I know. Afraid of tomorrow. No navigators. On oceans that has no life. Because he's seen it. He knows. If he were here, Inga, thank you again. Bring us together. If he were here, he would look to this panel, he would look to that front row, he would look to this room and say, wow, the island Earth has great navigators. They're here. In the collective power of the many, who are now creating new sail plans, drawing new maps that are going to be becoming the cartographers for what we love and what we value, and at the same time setting a course over the horizon that really matters. And it's going to be a course around the horizon that's going to protect everything that we care about, because our children deserve it. So on behalf of everyone that allows me the space and the moment and the time to be here with all of you, thank you very, very much. Aloha.